This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Michael Lende. He is the president and CEO of Internet of Things, Inc. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is ITT on the TSX Venture. Mike, great to see you. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. So for our audience, let's start off with a very quick overview and history of the company, and then we'll dig deeper and get more into that story.
Sure. Well, the company for the last few years have been focused in the area of weather telematics with predictive weather AI. And when I came in as the president and CEO in this new year, we realized that there's a lot more to leverage. We have an incredibly talented CTO and Chief Innovations Officer, and we opened up a division called AI Labs. And AI Labs is a company which, as a subsidiary of IoT, develops products which are innovation born out of necessity, like ThermalPass. ThermalPass is a fever detection system, which already went into pre-sales last week and detects fevers in public spaces such as malls, stadiums, schools, places of worship, office buildings, and the like. And so right now, Internet of Things is focused on our partnership with Commercial Solutions, where we have a JV that focuses on helping people get back into public spaces with more confidence and feeling safer and a little more comfortable, getting the economy back.
Absolutely. I mean, I was gonna touch on that later, but I figure we might as well get to it now. As you mentioned, on Thursday, June 23rd, which was last week, we're recording this on Monday, June 29th. You know, the company did announce, as you said, and I quote, strong pre-sale interest for ThermalPass Fever Detection System, end quote. So can you elaborate a little bit more here and how the ThermalPass system compares to other fever detection systems that are currently on the market?
Absolutely. So our distinctive competencies, which make up our unique selling proposition, are the fact that we are not camera-based. We are not a camera-based solution, which means, number one, there's no concern with invasion of privacy because we do not record anyone's individuality. So there's a complete anonymity. Number two, there's no violation of social distancing because there's no one required to hold a camera up to your face, nor is there a requirement for one to be mounted by a person nearby. There's no human intervention. The third point is that we have 20 medical grade sensors around the circumference of the device, of the thermal pass device, and they each take a reading of 20 temperatures per second, which is 400 readings per second. So it's most accurate out of all of our competitors. And finally, we find ourselves to be the least expensive on the market, and which is always helpful. So in the areas of expense, accuracy, and making sure that we're respecting people's privacy and anonymity and social distancing, that's where we win.
I mean, this is kind of crazy with the timing of this, with pre-sales and having this out. I mean, I gotta ask. I mean, like, was this something that right before COVID pandemic and everything that you guys were already in the process of getting geared up to then sell, and then with COVID, it just I'm only assuming that the interest has been, you know, pretty robust.
So, because we're a company who historically has been involved with public safety, it wasn't really a stretch for us. We, one of our products called Alert Fleet alerts people who are driving a vehicle, more predominantly in commercial trucking fleets, of black ice 300 meters ahead, or hail, or any other dangerous item, and it helps with hydro workers. We're doing a project right now with the province of Ontario on snow plowing. I mean, we're very involved in public safety, and so when COVID started to come around and the economy started to cripple and things got really bad, I started to converse with my team and my COO and I, and we realized that there's a necessity to get people feeling comfortable going into a public space, knowing that others before them who have gone into that space have passed through something that have mitigated the spread of contagions. And by providing that, whilst not stepping on the foot of privacy and not violating any social distancing, we're actually giving people confidence to go back into stores, to go back into um, schools, to go back into their office buildings, so their place of work, knowing that at least someone in front of them didn't have a fever who's in that public space sharing it with them. And so this was, and I do like to say this, it came out in one interview and it just kind of stuck in my head, that it's innovation born out of necessity.
I mean, I also have to ask. I mean, it's so interesting that, because it sounds like with the outbreak of COVID, it sounds like you guys kind of had the technology, but you know, look, with all due respect, the company is a sub 20 million market cap company, and all of a sudden you're able to utilize this technology and then put it into a system, and then you got pre-sales. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I mean, it's just interesting how you guys were able to really mobilize to get to even just where you're at today.
Right. So back in November, I came on as a consultant to the company prior to accepting the new role as the company's leader in uh, in 2020. And I did a lot of poking around and a lot of research, and I realized that our chief innovation officer, our CTO, there are people in the company, our data scientists, these are people who have tremendous abilities to do incredible things. All they need is a subject matter expert with a problem that they can solve. And we went through a bunch of trials with them before I accepted my position to see what they could do, and I was just blown away. I was completely blown away. We came up with a recognition AI, which could which could provide sentiment data and behavioral data sets for retail and in stores. And that was done in 72 hours. And we presented to a large grocery store chain, and they were completely taken by it as well. And so I realized, wow, we've really got a special team here. And so staying in line with public safety and staying in line with just taking the data we already have, and taking the firmware and the engineering accessibility and resources that we have, and pivoting a little bit to serve the times, to serve the needs of the times. To me, within the first week of COVID outbreak becoming, oh, listen, you got to stay at home. This isn't okay to go to your normal workplace. I was on the phone with Jason Elmaleh, the president of Commercial Solutions, whose company provides innovative solutions for retailers. And he said, listen, can you come up with something that can detect a fever when people come through the door? And I said, yeah, we can. And then that was the explosion and the excitement of, because we were working on other things for public safety at the time. But when he called me with that, right away, it was just like, oh, okay, we got this. And we knew, because of our experience in sensors, because we've been dealing with sensors, that if we upped our game and added medical grade sensors, which is the quality they use in hospitals for their industrial thermometers, we knew that we'd have something very special that had a very unique selling proposition because of its ability for accuracy.
Got it. So as you said in that press release, there's a strong pre-sale interest. So where are we currently at in development? Are we in manufacturing now, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so it's if you were to ask me this last week, or next week, there'd be such a difference in answers. So, like right now, I'm in the middle, which is an exciting time because what's happening is we're producing our first 50 thermal pass units, and what we're doing is we're working with our head engineer out of the UK, Malcolm Rook, who's worked for the British military and other incredible companies over several years. We're just so privileged and fortunate to have him as our lead team member in engineering. And so we're receiving in 48 hours from now on Wednesday, we're going to be receiving our full first two units, and we're going to be putting them. They've already been through testing in the UK, but we're putting them through our own rigorous testing here, and then another 50 units right up the rear from that. And we're going to be filming these thermal pass units in use at factories and office buildings and other public spaces. And we've been already in pre-sales mode, and we're anticipating the launch of the first 1,000 out the door in the next 5 to 7 weeks. We're very excited.
And then from a regulation side of things, was there any additional approvals that you need to get then get to the point where you can start selling them, or how does that work?
Sure, yeah. So in Canada, um, uh, Canada has a very efficient way of handling someone like us, which is excellent because it allows us to go forward and do what we need to do and not stop the process of helping people get to a better place. What I mean is you have to have an MDEL, which is a medical device establishment license to sell and market what we have, the ThermalPass. And we've been given approval to conduct our business as though we have one in place already. Now, we're going to have to meet certain requirements just like everyone else, and get CSA approval, which is coming down the chute very quickly right now. That's going to be very quick. But we have been granted permission by Health Canada to conduct ourselves in the same way that you would for a fully approved medical device establishment license, which is fantastic. And so it's really exciting. And in the States, it's kind of similar process for FDA approval, a little bit different. You're people who want to have devices like this are going to have to get FDA approval 100%, but there's a process right now because of COVID and strictly because of COVID-19. You're allowed to proceed ahead. We're using the prestigious law firm of Wilson Sonsoni, uh, who has been great to work with because they have all the big technical companies, all the big technology firms. So they've been great advisors, and we know that we can go ahead and pursue what we're doing, but we have to make sure still all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, that we are compliant with all the checks and all the testing that we must do. But the FDA process doesn't prevent you from going to market right now.
Got it. And as you said, you came on board. You were around November 2019, officially earlier this year as as president CEO. You know, what was your background prior to joining Internet of Things?
Yeah, so a few highlights. I started Zipcar Canada for the American firm back in 2006, where I was the VP for Zipcar Canada. And it was a private company back then with markets all over the world in the UK and all over the United States. And then we went public 5 years later in 2011, which was a very exciting time, and we were very happy about that. And since then, I've done various other businesses. I've been spending a lot of time consulting to various CMOs and CEOs of both medium and large companies for top line revenue growth and marketability. That's where I've spent most of my time. I've been a chief marketing officer before. I've been a CEO before, mostly in the private space. I build businesses and I help other CEOs build viable businesses with real products and services and create value. We want to, and that's what we're doing here today. We're creating a serious value proposition with ThermalPass because the thing is, Robert, if I were to take a magic wand and we were able to vaccine everybody and make sure there was no more COVID-19 anymore, still, because of what's happened over the last 13 weeks, and in speaking with several psychologists and different focus groups, what the feedback is coming back to me resonating is that people's mindsets are different. They're not as comfortable going to a baseball game or going to the movie theater or going to the mall or even going to their place of work. So, um, and like I say, even if COVID was gone tomorrow, this is kind of, and you look at when 9/11 happened, and we are what 19 years down the road now, and there are still security measures in place that emanated and came from as a result of 9/11. I think there will be years from now security measures mitigating factors, mitigating devices like ours, which are still in play years from now because we want to be able to have more control next time something pops up, or even if it's just the flu or some other, contagion. So I think this is a big step forward, and this might be part of the new normal.
So then, from what you can tell us, what are the 1 to 2 things that investors should look for from Internet of Things moving forward?
I mean, from Internet of Things, they should be looking for us to keep being innovative and coming up with other solutions that help with public safety, that help with mitigating all kinds of different um, factors in the areas of insurance, agriculture, finance. Um, we've got Alert Fleet, which is a brand new um, uh, a product that's going to go to market that's going to be marketed for giant fleets and medium-sized fleets that gives you an alert warning that tells you all about um, you know warnings up ahead and hazards that helps fleets to cut back on their costs and premiums, their costs of deductibles, and their out-of-pocket expenses on smaller accidents. So we've got a lot of different preventative measures which mitigate uh, hazardous factors in day-to-day operations of various businesses. We've got a recognition AI, which is for the retail space, which is with object tracking and heat mapping of different where people go in stores, but without giving up privacy, um, without infringing on privacy or encroaching on anything like that. So we're there to help small businesses with their specific problems, and we have incredible historical data sets that we can leverage. And when met with current data streams, it provides a predictive AI. So predictive AI is the space we're in. We're able to provide a lot of predictive analysis on what could go wrong and what will go wrong and what is coming at you. Um, and back to the thermal pass, you know, there are data sets collected from that. Even though we're not infringing on privacy, we're still collecting how many people went through, how many people had fevers, um, different at different locations at different times. So we're still in the data business, very much so. And there are so many things that you can do with great data sets. So we've got a lot going on right now in various areas in weather telematics, in AI labs, in retail recognition, and of course ThermalPass to get people out of their houses and back to work, and hopefully in a safe and more comforting way.
For sure. So with that, where can my audience go and find more information about Internet of Things, Inc.?
Sure. So if the audience can go to www.iotintl.com. So IOTINTL like international.com. That'd be great. We'd love to see you there. There's all kinds of information on everything we're doing.
Well, with that, Mike, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I wish you guys the best of luck. Stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
All right, great. And if I could plug a little bit, thermalpass.com, just to check it out.
Thank you very much.
Take care.